This is Sunday, September 6, 92, in Springwater. In sitting quietly for a while, as most of us did before this talk, maybe not just totally entangled in thoughts and feelings, but also somewhat open to the sound of wind in the trees and motors, the pulsations throughout the body, coolness, light. One wonders why there should be a talk at all. Since this open, quiet listening seems to be so sufficient unto itself. Why talk? And people are asking me this. It comes up in meetings, group or private. Why do you talk? Why do you give talks? Why do I come to your talks? Why? Why do you come to the talks? Why do I give talks? Since it's so easy and relaxing to just listen what's there, in touch with each other, in an unusual way, because normally when we're together, we touch each other through words, gestures, content, emotions expressed or hidden, but somewhat still there. So to just a few of us or many of us sitting here quietly in this open, bright room, is that wholly sufficient? The question also has come up during the past weeks in meetings, extended staff meetings, meetings with people who are visiting here, working here as volunteers, and also smaller groups. How do we talk with each other? How do we listen to each other if we do? One person bringing up in a discussion group, I would like to talk with people not just about the movies, which seems what talk is so often about, movies, or you can fill in whatever safe topics are. I would like to be in touch on a deeper level. But do we need to look at why we talk about movies and not give explanations right away, but feel it out as we touch each other by talking about a movie we've both seen or read about in a review or heard about from someone else, or I've seen it but you haven't, so I tell you about it. Why do we talk with each other? how do we talk with each other? What is the depth and breadth and of our listening at the same time we're talking? The awareness. Is that worthwhile asking ourselves and looking into as we talk to each other right now, or in the kitchen, at the table, in the bus, in the doctor's office, wherever one meets together, for strangers or friends. To come back to the first question, why do I give talks? Why do I? Why do I give talks? I've done it for a long time. Is that the reason? Having done it since 1976. And so a habit is established which runs now on its own momentum, autonomously, as it's sometimes put. But there are people often who come to talks, even though they may question, why do I come to this talk, or why do you talk? But people do come, you come, and I'm here too. And up till now, there has been feedback, people have told me, that it's been helpful to come to talks. Even though one may challenge or not agree with what is being said, but it's been helpful, and maybe this is why this talking on a Sunday morning or in retreats continues. There is a demand, so there's a supply. Is that it? Supply and demand? Well, these are concepts which have connotation. But something like that. If nobody came, I would still be home, enjoying the view from the back window, the hedgerow of trees swaying in the wind. Well, it's not swaying any differently than here, but maybe talking with Kyle, reading something. But people are coming and are interested in hearing a talk. Maybe we'll discuss this later. Maybe this will come up. Why do you come here? Because the question is often asked, are people here who come here who just want to hear somebody express something with energy and conviction and strength and take refuge in that? Because people are attached to you, Toni. Want to hear what you say so they don't have, this is people talking about people, so they don't have to think for themselves. You put it all out and it can be taken over. This is good to question it. Why is one here? And do I talk in order to hold an audience, to be sure next Sunday there will be people too, so I better make it good this Sunday? Is there an urgency to give something to people so they feel good about me? Because I need people to feel good about me. All of these questions which one can put to oneself, they don't have to just be brought up here. I'm just expressing what comes up spontaneously. It's good to ask this, not to immediately answer it, but to let these questions sort of have their own life, their own vibration, their own power of shedding light on our motives, on our thoughts and feelings, our attachments, needs, demands, desires, hopes. Let it all come to light. I don't mean this in a spectacular way. A little bit of light. enough to read what's there in this mind of constant needing and wanting and fearing, and then maybe abruptly or slowly and opening up to something that is not of needing or wanting or fearing. Peep. It's not fearing, is it? Sound of leaves rustling. In talking right now, whatever last Sunday may have been a motive, I don't remember it. Right now I can look. In talking right now, can we share together, participate, looking, listening together? One person talks, so be it. In 100 years, somebody else will talk, maybe already sooner than that. But right now, at this moment, somebody's talking. Can one put aside everything, and just listen to what's happening now? A desire coming up to want to be like that, or to repeat what she says. Somebody just told me this the other day, came for a private meeting and said, the person had read the book that is out that I wrote. He said, what am I to do with this? It certainly opened up a lot of things for him. But he says, do I now have to learn this lingo, Springwater or Toni Packer lingo? When I come there, do I have to sound like that? Do I have to imitate her? And in being here one Sunday, he said, do I have to just imitate watch very carefully so I do what everybody else does? But he was also observing these thoughts and these insecurities. It came to light. It was readable. It became transparent. Can that happen for us? That what moves this body and mind in pleasure and fear and pain can become transparent for moments at a time, no perfection demanded, or no forever after demanded. Just become wise, intimate, in touch with what moves this mind, superficially and deeply and in between. From moment to moment, as one listens to a talk, or as we talk with each other about a movie that you or I saw, or both of us saw it, or neither of us saw it, but we read the review. Why do we talk about movies? Let's look at it. And not just, I'm not saying the person did that, not just dismiss that as not enough, but look at it. If that's what's happening, why does it happen? Is it the movie that we're interested in and talking to each other about? Is that the only thing? Or is there wanting to touch each other? I don't know how to talk with you, but I know you like movies. And I want to be in touch with you. I want to have a friendly conversation. A friendly meeting together. And that's what comes up right now as a movie, because I know you or I, we like it. Is that all? Is that the only thing? I don't know what else to say to you, really, but I want to talk with you. I don't want to give you the impression I'm indifferent to you, I don't care about you. And I can feel there are touchy spots in both of us. Touchy, vulnerable, easy to break open and hurt spots in both of us. And I don't know how to touch those, how to talk about those. Not right now. Right now I know if we talk about movies, we can converse with each other. There's something going on between us. Very superficially we can label it, but it's more than that, isn't it? It's two human beings not avoiding each other completely or talking negatively about each other with others. We're there. We have a chance to look at each other's face, take each other in, no matter what the topic is that we may be talking about. Does that make sense? Is that what's happening? We have to look. Look just stands for much more than looking. It means in touchness, your sense is open to receive and maybe not know what to do with the receptive, with what is received, but open to oneself and another human being. The motives may be murky at times, or most of the time, but open to them, open to discovering. But then I find, as was brought up by someone in a meeting, it's not enough talking about movies. I want to talk about something much more important, much more meaningful, deep. Does it? I don't know whether we ever came to that in that discussion. I forget. But does it mean to maybe get in touch with some of those vulnerable, touchy, easy to hurt spots? Is that what it means? See, so often we say, well, let's talk about our feelings. Let's not talk about the movies or motorcycles. When we were in Mount Hope, that was how we began, and we rented a house there after we left the Zen Center, rented a big house in Mount Hope, and it was very close to the canal, that has a bicycle path that goes along the canal, and all of us before long were bicycling on that canal path. And the conversation at the table was a lot about bicycles. Bicycle equipment and catalogs of bicycles were around on the table. And we were blamed for it. Somebody said, what an immature sort of teenage-ish staff you have. They talk about bicycles most of the time. Isn't there something deeper for staff to talk about? But we're bicycling together. It's fresh air and exercise. And the mind of some human beings is set upon improving the gears or the whatever, the equipment, the clothes. Some other minds are sort of going with what's there. But you hear something about maybe a better pedal or a better saddle, and you realize that your seat has been hurting, so get a new saddle. Still hurts. So what's this deeper talk that we want to get into with each other? Or is it just deeper talk, or is it a deeper what? I can tell you all about my feelings, about you or the center or someone else, and I may find great relief in having an open ear. But how do I know that ear is open there? Can I feel it? Somebody sitting there listening without judgment, or the other person just waiting to tell about their feelings. So politely, after I've talked for 5 minutes or so, I let you talk about your feelings and feign interest in it. It happens. We're not really in touch with each other. I'm not really that interested in your feelings, and I know you're not that interested in my feelings. Or are you? Are we interested in what? What are we interested in when we talk about our feelings? Feeling hurt, feeling useless, unworthy, or good about ourselves. Why do we like to talk about it with someone else? There's so many different ways, many different reasons are there. Either the same as the movies, I want to make contact with you. Or I want your support, your consideration, your advice, or just your warmth of listening. Do I also want to find out about what I'm talking about? And sort of look inward into this bottomless, I don't want to say abyss, it seems to follow bottomless, but into this endless reason upon reason, or motive below motive below motive. Another motive there, another something there. Let it be seen, felt. And then what? I talk to get security, a motherly ear or a grandmotherly ear. Why? How does it feel inside? And I may need to talk about it, let it sort of bubble and burst out in order to see something. That may be the way things reveal themselves, or some things. In trying to make explicit what's murky in there, put it into words, and by putting it into words, does it become clearer? Yeah, this is it. Or do now the words convince me that this is what it is, and making something out of something which may not be just the words that express it. Do you get that, or is this too complex? Feel something very murky, darkly, dimly, and I want to put it into words to you, explain it, describe it, describe it. And by describing it, something becomes clear, at least the description. But maybe also the feeling loses its murkiness, its darkly dimliness. Or do I now stick to this description and say, yeah, this is how I feel, and not in touch with what's really there. I find it satisfactory to have a new description of how I feel, how I am, how everybody else is you, and so and so. Because this is how we live most of the time, in the words and descriptions about ourselves and each other, in all the imagery that the brain faithfully establishes of experienced incidents. How you were when you said that, and how I felt when you said that, and all of that stored as imagery and projected when I see you again. So, to be very open when we express our feelings to what is going on beside just that. What are the yields from it? Feeling interesting to oneself, maybe. I'm not trying to be negative about it or judgmental. I'm discovering that I feel very interesting to myself and to you right now, and that gives me a boost. Energy, I can feel it. I'm worthy of interest. I remember that way back in Switzerland for 1 year, took a psychoanalysis for a year. And this is what I remember most, the deep satisfaction and excitement of feeling that I was becoming or being interesting to the therapist and to myself. And that was like priming a pump. I don't say it was the only thing, but that's what I remember foremost of that year. In other words, the putting into words and descriptions was not so much revealing of what was there. It became a life of its own. It assumed a life of its own. This is what I was, and someone was interested in that. And I keep it up. So this is what we talked in a meeting, in a sort of a very intimate staff meeting the other night. We asked, in talking with each other, telling something to each other, how I feel about you, or what upsets me about you. I mean, can one observe one's own reaction as one is talked to like that? When somebody makes a critical remark about me, which I experience as being critical, being jumped upon, the first response, isn't it, is to defend myself, to push it all onto someone else. To try to leave this hurting, defended thing intact. But is there something else going on as human beings sit there also listening with concern, with interest, without judgment? Is it possible then to feel the defensiveness, the denial or the pushing away in myself? Can I feel it? Be in touch with it and explore it. Maybe this time by myself. I need nobody. I need to look at this, at the hurt, at the defense, at what's at the bottom of all of this. I got to be alone with that at times. Because I find just putting it into words sort of seems to externalize it. Something else happens there. Not always, not necessarily, but it does often. And at times I need to just be there with this whole thing of myself, whatever that is. Defenses around defenses around defenses around what? What's the core? What's in the middle of it? At the bottom of it? What is being defended? But, you can immediately say, well, it's nothing. And then push all of this thing away, pulverize it, and listen to the trees and cicadas and the motorcycle. But I haven't touched this wound, which comes up again and again and again, the defensiveness. I want to touch it when it comes up next time, and not just switch it off by listening to the wind. It's possible. This is what is brought out more and more in people who are interested in both psychotherapy and meditation, pointing out that meditation can become a tool for repression or denial, because it can open up a little space of quietness. I described it once physically like sort of pushing out these walls that would hem one in, but one has to keep pushing for this to stay open, or else there it is again. Pushing with whatever practice or willpower, effort, to for God's sakes become quiet and not think or emote.
wonderful when everything turns off and it's open and empty and quiet. But what is going on? I want to be in touch. Wise, intelligent about it. See whether there's a thought, I must not be going into this, I must not be defensive, I must not be hurt, because all that gets hurt is an image, and sort of know that, but not see it. Discover it as it happens. That's a completely different process. It's a process which is liberating, freeing. Because the truth of defensiveness or of denial of willpower is exposed, it's shown, it reveals itself directly. So what does it mean to talk, to be in touch with each other? With oneself, with the trees and wind. Our problems, the hold they can have on us, hold emotionally, physically, and yet listen to them as they come up in oneself or are expressed by someone else. Listen quietly, openly to it, spaciously and non-judgmentally. So that whether we talk about movies or bicycles, or my feelings or your feelings, or the horrendous disaster in Florida, people within seconds or minutes, the house gone, their possessions shattered, but not wanting to leave that heap of rubble, wanting to stay there. It's my home. How do we listen to all of that? Is it possible for this human mind, which is raised and steeped and nurtured in judgment and in comparison, to look and listen without that, openly, naively you may say, not knowing, not relying on all one knows, freshly for the first time. Is that a real question for us, for you and me, for all of us here or wherever we may be? Can the mind be transparent to its so instantaneous judgment without judging it? There it is. And this is the physical response, the shock in the solar plexus, or wherever it may be, here, or everywhere. Listen openly, not know what to do, just like we don't know what to do about the trees and blowing in the wind.